Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Literally Everything, the channel where we talk about literally everything. So we're right in the middle of December right now. It's the holiday season. Everybody's watching, their favorite holiday movies. And I know a lot of people have, holiday movies that they watch every single year. It's already in their rotation. But if you're looking for something new to add your holiday movie playlist that you maybe haven't seen before, wouldn't normally think to watch, both movies and TV, these are a few of my favorites that I think you should add to your holiday playlist. So let's start it off with a TV show. So this is something that I watch every single year. I can't imagine having Christmas without it. And that is the season 2 Christmas special of Community, Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas. So if you've seen Community before, you're already definitely aware of this episode. It's one of the more famous episodes. If you haven't seen Community before, this can also be kind of a good jumping in point. I don't think you have to understand too much. Everything's kind of soloed off into its own kind of episode. But basically this is kind of a, as Community tends to be, it's like a meta kind of breakdown of traditional holiday movies. And it just does it in the most Community way possible, where basically Abed is having kind of a breakdown because his Christmas isn't going to be the way that it normally is. And you're getting really one of the only, well, not one of the only, but especially this early in the show, one of the first looks into what Abed's kind of mind looks like, how he sees the world. And so it's a claymation episode, all kind of in the style of, the classic holiday movies like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, that kind of stuff, where they're going on this like Christmas adventure that's all happening entirely in his head. And they're trying to find like the meaning of Christmas. And like I said, this is just such a great holiday episode. It's such a great throwback to the classic, holiday movies that basically everyone at this point grew up watching. And I can't imagine Christmas without it. And then next, if you're looking for something a little bit kind of unconventional, no, I'm not going to say Die Hard here, but Batman Returns. Batman Returns is, not a movie that I'm saying people have forgotten about by any means, but it is a movie that I think a lot of people forget is set against kind of a Christmas Eve backdrop. And so in that way, if you are kind of just looking for something new to watch that's maybe not just, super similar to all the Christmas movies that you've been watching, but you do want it to still feel like a little bit Christmassy, this is kind of a dark Christmas vibe that you could throw in. Plus you've obviously got, the iconic Danny DeVito Penguin performance, Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Keaton as Batman. There's a lot to like about this movie. So if you're looking for something that's not like super Christmassy, but will still keep you in the Christmas spirit a little bit, Batman Returns is always a great choice. And then let's go back to TV for a second. We're going to go to one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I think probably the best TV show of all time, and that's Lost. So if you've never seen Lost before, I would just disregard this suggestion, honestly, but you should absolutely watch Lost. But here I'm talking about specifically, I believe it's in season 4, it's called The Constant. And this entirely takes place, the entire, story of this one episode is a fairly self-contained story that takes place on Christmas Eve. It's all Desmond-centric, so if you're a Desmond person, I know a lot of people are, this is probably already one of your favorite episodes, and this is just your reminder to watch it. Because this is just one of the best episodes in the entire show, one of the most emotional episodes, and it does just, it has that Christmas backdrop. It's always a great one to watch. All right, and now I want to talk about a movie that only came out about a month ago. But I think it's definitely going to be on my annual Christmas rewatch list for years to come, and that's The Holdovers. So it takes place entirely it's at a boarding school, set entirely over the course of a holiday break, and it's just this one kid that kind of ends up having nowhere to go, and he has to stay behind at the school with this teacher who's this really strict, no-nonsense teacher. Nobody likes the teacher. Nobody really likes this kid. They don't get along. And so it's just this really funny, really heartwarming, really entertaining. I don't know, it's just weird because it's heartwarming and heartbreaking. It's not your traditional Christmas movie at all, or holiday movie. But it just hits on so many levels. And if you're looking for something that isn't revolving around, presents or Santa or the North Pole, but still is almost entirely about, definitely a holiday break, and they do hit the holidays in there too. If you're looking for something with great performances, that's just going to make you feel like both warm and sad on the inside, I can't recommend The Holdovers enough. All right, and we've been talking about Christmas for long enough. I know I keep saying holiday, but now we are going to hit our first kind of multi-holiday movie, and that is The Night Before. This is a movie that I'm surprised kind of fell off as quickly as it did. It stars Seth Rogen, Anthony Mackie, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You're getting both kind of Christmas and Hanukkah representation in there, all the different kind of cultural traditions and jokes and things like that. And this is just a really funny, really strong, really tight holiday movie. And like, is it one that I've watched every single year since it came out? No. But it is one that when it happens to, when I happen to put it on, I'm really happy about it. And so if you've never seen this, I think it would be a great addition to, the rest of the holiday movies you're planning on watching this holiday season. And while we're talking about things that are celebrating both Christmas and Hanukkah, who can forget the OC? There are countless Christmaka episodes in there. I think the season one is probably the best. So if you've never seen the OC, I think it's only, 10, 13 episodes in. So it's pretty easy to get to, or you can just skip straight there. And I don't know if this is what actually like officially coined the term Christmaka. But to me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, it probably did, even if that term was, invented way before this. But this is just, I love the OC. It's one of my favorite like teenage soap operas. I grew up watching it. So if you've never seen it, this is a reason to watch it, or at least just watch this one episode because this is one of the best episodes, honestly. All right, now let's talk about Gremlins. This is one of my kind of favorite ones to watch, especially early in the season, just because it's such a good gap between Halloween and Christmas. And if you've never seen Gremlins before, it's kind of a classic Joe Dante, family-friendly horror movie kind of. About this kid who his dad goes to Chinatown on Christmas Eve, and he stops at this pet store, and he finds this like strange pet that he's never seen before, and he buys it from the guy who runs the pet store. It's called a mogwai. And so, he gives him some rules like don't feed it after midnight, don't get it wet. Why can't I remember the other one? But there's a third rule. And so anyway, he takes it home, he gives it to his kid for Christmas. They're playing with it. This animal is so cute. It's Gizmo, obviously on the poster. I think Gizmo's just iconic at this point. I'm sure everyone knows Gizmo. But anyway, the kid obviously ends up breaking some of those rules, which creates these like crazy versions of Gizmo essentially that are like green and slimy and nasty, and they just kind of like run amok in the town, and they're trying to get it to stop. And like I said, just because this one is like, kind of Halloween vibes, but he gets it for Christmas, and it all takes place like, I think on Christmas, like it starts on Christmas Eve and goes through maybe Christmas Day, the day after Christmas Day maybe. But it is just like, it's a really good bridge kind of in that gap where maybe it's a little too early to watch Christmas movies. But also the closer you get to Christmas, the closer you are to watching it during the time that it actually takes place. So it really works if you're going to watch it early in the season, mid in the season, on Christmas, who cares? It's just a great movie all around. All right, now let's talk about the Ted Lasso Christmas special. So this was, if I remember right, it was kind of a gap between season 2 and 3. They kind of released it on its own in the middle of summer, which was interesting. But this episode more than stands on its own, and especially, if you've seen season 3, it's stronger than almost anything in season 3. It just like is a quintessential, like, obviously the show is known for being heartwarming. The holidays are a heartwarming time of year. And so obviously it just steers into that just really, really well, and just makes you feel good. And if you just want to watch something around Christmas that's to kind of make you think like, oh my God, that's so cute, the Ted Lasso Christmas special is definitely that. Even if you haven't seen the rest of the show, I think you could probably just watch this one special, get the gist, and I think you're going to like it enough that you're going to want to watch the rest of the show. All right, now let's talk about something. I watch this religiously every single Christmas season. Sometimes I can't wait until Christmas and I watch it in the middle of the summer. And that's Anna and the Apocalypse. So I saw this on a whim back when it was in theaters, I think in like 2017-ish. And it just immediately, I had really no expectations, and it blew me away. It's everything you could possibly want in a movie. It's Christmas, it's British, it's a musical, it's zombies. It's just all this stuff thrown together in this really engaging, really tight, really memorable movie. And so basically, Anne and the Apocalypse is about this girl, and she's kind of winding up her high school career. And it's just kind of some of her friends. And I think it's like the day before Christmas, there's a zombie outbreak, and they're all just trying to get back to, she's trying to get back to her dad, essentially. And they're like fighting through the town. And like, there's just like, think of like Shaun of the Dead or something. Where it's almost kind of a parody of zombie movies, except it's also a musical. But yeah, this movie is just, the songs are so catchy. I still listen to the songs to this day. It's so funny. And the end is like it's not what you would think it would be, and it kind of you kind of hits you right in the feels a little bit. So this is one that not a lot of people have seen, and more people absolutely should. It's an underrated movie in general, let alone an underrated Christmas movie. So if you're one of those people who haven't seen it, you definitely should. I think it's on Amazon Prime, but just check it out. All right, now we're going to talk about my favorite Christmas movie of all time. I've watched this every Christmas for as long as I can remember, and this is one that to me is a Christmas classic. But there are so many people that I talk to every single year, and I talk to them about this movie, and they've either never seen it or they've never heard of it, which is crazy to me. Maybe it was just my childhood and the people that I spent most of my time with in my childhood, but that is Jingle All the Way. So if I'm crazy here and everybody else here watches this movie, let me know, because I'm starting to feel like I'm in a small minority of people that loves this movie as much as I do. But Jingle All the Way stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as there's basically this big new kids show that comes out, and they've got a big action figure, and he's supposed to get it for his kid, but he's kind of an absent father, and so he forgets to get it. It's Christmas Eve, he doesn't have the toy, and it's sold out everywhere. And so he's going all across, I think they live in Minneapolis, he's going all across Minneapolis trying to find this Turbo Man toy. And he ends up going through all of these weird, he does all the typical Christmas rush things, like, kind of black market Christmas gifts, trying to go to the mall, like all that kind of stuff, like Christmas lotteries. And it's just like all these weird situations. He's having all these weird run-ins with people. Sinbad is in the movie. This is probably Sinbad's best role, if you ask me. And then it ends just perfectly. Like I was a really, really big Turbo Man fan as a kid. I always really wanted to be Turbo Man. I really wanted a Turbo Man toy. I am now an adult and I do have a Turbo Man toy because I can do those kinds of things. But if you have never seen Jingle All the Way, obviously watch everything else on this list, but maybe watch this first, because this is my favorite Christmas movie of all time. And honestly, like one of my favorite movies of all time. I think if you told me I could only watch one movie for the rest of my life, I would at least strongly consider Jingle All the Way. So anyways, guys, that was kind of my list of underrated holiday movies and TV shows. If you have any thoughts, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd love to know, what you think. If there's anything else you think that should be added to this list, let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe.